Hello, and welcome to another episode of Healing with Nama. I am Casey, aka Nama, and today I'm going to talk about the importance of gratitude. Don't forget, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can also find me on social media on Instagram at I Just Wanna Be. That's AIJUSWANNABE_inspirational. You can find me on YouTube on the same name and TikTok under I Just Wanna Be _INSP. And you can also find my website www.ijustwannabeinspirational.com. So let's talk about gratitude. My experience with learning to be truly grateful started when I started my healing journey in 2016 and has continued on till today. I recently realized that I've kind of gotten stuck in a rut and kind of gotten stuck in a routine of how I do things and how I show gratitude, and I got a little spiritually lazy. I forgot the foundation of where I started my gratitude practice in the first place. So I wasn't being as grateful as I used to be, even though I thought that I was. I wasn't putting a lot of effort into it or a lot of thought into my gratitude and showing my gratitude and really feeling it and being grateful for things. So I was having a rough day a couple days ago and just feeling down about how certain things are going and how they're not going the way that I would like them to go. Things are not moving the way that I would like them to move in certain areas, and I'm still having to do things that I would rather not be doing because I would like to be in a different space and I just feel stagnant. And I was having a really hard time that morning. And so I started watching just different YouTube videos about gratitude and faith. And it reminded me of the person that I was when I first started my spiritual journey. And I first started practicing gratitude. And to remember how important it is to be grateful for everything. It doesn't take away the problems or the negative experiences. It just highlights the positive ones more so that it's easier to get through each day, and it's easier to not let small things mess up your whole day. One video that I did watch on YouTube was The Power of Gratitude by Motivational Instinct, and it was a YouTube with Oprah speaking and a couple other people whose voices I'm not really sure who they were. And they were talking about the importance of gratitude and how gratitude can change your perspective. Gratitude can move you forward in so many different ways in your life. And that gratitude is one of the best things that you can do to become successful. So all these people that were speaking are very successful in different ways. Obviously, Oprah is Oprah. And the one thing that they have in common is showing gratitude or starting their day with gratitude. And one of the people on there, I don't know his name, but he said, what if you woke up tomorrow with only the things you expressed gratitude for today? And that really, I've heard that quote before, but that stuck out with me again that day where I was just having a hard time and starting to pile things on about how things weren't going right. And it reminded me that not only to be grateful, but to express gratitude, to speak it out and to say how happy I am about just the things that I do have and the opportunities that I do have, and not being where I was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, getting through the tower moment that I was in, and just being grateful and showing gratitude. So that really stuck with me. It's like, have I expressed gratitude for the things that I really take for granted and that I need? Like when I go outside and I start up my car, it starts and I can go wherever I want to go. When I wake up in the morning, I can open my eyes. When I need to take a bath, I can bathe myself. All those things that you kind of just get used to doing and take for granted, and you don't remember or realize that at any moment, God forbid, it could be taken away from you. And I had to remember that. So that was one of the things that video showed me, is that I need to remind myself to be grateful. And it's funny because I always remind my niece or like younger kids to say thank you when they're given something, but I don't always say thank you when I receive something from God or the universe, or just being grateful. I'm able to teach it to other people, but I have to take it back to maybe even preschool and remind myself to say thank you for everything all the time, and be grateful for the small things, for all the things that I do have. And that is a way that I have built up, how can I say? That is a way that I've gotten myself out of negative thought patterns that I was in years ago. So I've gotten so much better now than where I was before about everything would just spiral if I had a bad day. Like everything was bad. Everything was just anxiety provoking and focusing on a negative and all that kind of stuff, instead of just being grateful for an experience or a time or whatever the case may be. So focusing on what you do have, focusing on what you are able to do and what you are able to control are very important things to building your spiritual experience and really your life. If you are not somebody who is spiritual, if you're religious, if you're just whatever you are, you should still practice gratitude and being grateful for all the things that you're still here. You're still living, so there is a purpose for you, and there's something to be fulfilled by you still being here on the planet, and that to me is something to be grateful for. So some ways that you can cultivate your gratitude practice is by keeping a gratitude journal. So you can get specific gratitude journals on Amazon, or you can just buy a blank journal and then write what you're grateful for in there. I have several journals that I write gratitude in, and I have one that's just for gratitude. And then I also just put a paper up on my wall in my room that says I am grateful for. And then every morning when I think about it, I write one thing down that I'm grateful for, whether it be in the morning or at night, whatever I am grateful for, just to remind myself to think about it. And that's the other thing too, is it when you have to think about what you're grateful for, it makes you stop and appreciate little things. And then you start to really, really have to focus in on, okay, what am I grateful for? And especially if you're feeling down or you're feeling like everything's going wrong, you really have to stop and think about, okay, let me just find at least one small thing to be grateful for and go from there. So that's just what you have to do. Another thing is to thank yourself. So after you thank God, universe, whomever, thank yourself. Thank yourself for trying. Thank yourself for keeping it pushing. Thank yourself for all the things that you're able to do. Thank yourself for being who you are. That is really important, and that is a stepping stone to building self-love and self-respect. Another one is to be present. So when you are in those happy moments and you are enjoying yourself and your life and things are going well, even if it's for an hour, be present in that moment and take it in and remind yourself to be grateful for that experience and that time, whether you're spending your time with your family, doing something you love, exercising, whatever it is. Just make sure to take a mental note in your mind of how much you're enjoying that moment and how grateful you are to be there and to be experiencing that. It will make a world of difference. Also, saying things aloud. So saying aloud the good things that happen to you. So not just writing it down, but speaking it out and saying, I am so grateful for this day. I am so grateful for whatever it is. You can even look in the mirror at yourself and start practicing gratitude and speaking those words and getting yourself used to saying happy, positive things about yourself and about your life. Say it to other people. Say how grateful you are to other people. Sometimes when you're developing a new habit, it's okay. I won't say it's okay, but sometimes you can determine if it's okay for you to kind of be extra about it and like go a little overboard with the gratitude until you get to a place where it becomes a part of your routine, and then balance it out. That's usually what works for me, is just to like completely immerse myself in the new habit and then even it out as time goes and it becomes less of a chore for me to remember to do it. And lastly, go for a mindful walk. So this could also be just meditating in your room if you can't go for a mindful walk. But going for a mindful walk means just going to walk in a park in your neighborhood, usually without music, and just appreciating everything that's going on around you. So listening to the sounds around you, looking at the trees, looking at the grass, looking at the people, taking in everything that's going on and really looking at it and appreciating it, because it's something that we don't often do. We just kind of go on about our day and about our life. And sometimes, I know for me, I don't even really remember certain things. Like I may not remember if I locked my car or if I turned something off, because I'm just doing it out of habit and I'm not being mindful about the action. So doing mindful things is a great way to start practicing gratitude, because you're actually aware of what's happening. You're actually aware of the things that are going on around you, and it's easier for you to stop and say, I'm so grateful for this thing, or I'm so happy that I am able to take a walk. I'm able to appreciate all these things, and I'm able to see them. I'm able to hear. I'm able to smell. And just getting curious about the things that are going on around you, paying attention in a way that you don't normally do, will help you to start to become more grateful for the little things that seem insignificant, but really can make up a lot of your life. Because think about it, if the small things that you don't really think about were taken away, you definitely would notice. I told this to my cousin the other day, if all of a sudden you woke up tomorrow and all your fingernails and toenails were gone, you would notice. So show gratitude for them today. I know it sounds silly, but that's what I mean about appreciating the small things. Like the things that you don't think about, that you take for granted, are important to you, and you don't notice them while they're there, but if they were gone, you would notice. So just show gratitude for them today. So that is my little mini episode about showing gratitude and how I am cultivating gratitude. All the things that I listed are things that I also do. I also am a fan of Post-it sticky notes. So I will write a million Post-it sticky notes and post them everywhere to remind me to be grateful. So there's so many other things you could do. You can always Google more ways to be grateful, but the important thing is to make it a habit and practice it every single day. Even one thing that you're grateful for, waking up and saying, I am so grateful for whatever it is, and write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day in the morning, every day at night, or whenever you have a minute. Just 3 things. It doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be grand. It can just be, I'm grateful that when I walked into my house, everything was the way that I left it. I'm grateful that when I got into my car and I turned it on, it got me where I needed to go. I'm grateful to have a job and to be bringing in income. So practice some gratitude today. Your homework today is to write down, do it right now, write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and keep doing that. Keep doing it. Try to make it 3 different things every day and see how that changes you. See how 21 days, take 21 days and just take a minute during the day to write down 3 things that you're grateful for, or 3 things that have gone well for you that day, and see what happens. So that is my challenge for you guys. And I will see you on the very next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow me on social media, like, share, and subscribe this podcast, and be grateful.